the price is quite a bold statement, but the whole package you get is a really big fat package, which I think justifies the price. Hello and welcome to Watch-Maxe's Watch Videos. My name is Axel and I'm glad to have you on the show. I'm pretty happy that I'm able to present you a special watch, and this is a watch from Corazon del Mar. It's the Meridian Chrono Deep Blue Smaragd Limited, directly from the brand owner's wrist. Marcus Finger, Germany's biggest watch YouTuber, agreed to send me his personal watch for a review, so he took it off his wrist, wrapped it, packed it, and sent it over to me. And as you can see, it is a real big, interesting watch with a heck of scales and indicators on the face. I'm coming to that in detail during the video. First, I have to say, it is a watch not new out of the box. It is a worn watch. It is a watch which has been in use. So there are certain signs of use, and that's pretty normal for a watch which has been worn. But I really do appreciate that, because it really shows how the watch may develop over time and how signs of wear will either accomplish the watch or spoil the watch. And in that particular case, I think a sporty watch like this one really can stand certain signs of wear, and it's absolutely nothing which makes the watch worse or destroys the overall design. I think in a certain way it really supports the overall design of a sporty watch if you see certain signs of wear. It is a big fat watch, no doubt about that. It is a heavy watch and is a thick watch. Coming to that each in detail later on. First, I would like to have a closer look to the watch with a couple of colors, a couple of scales and indicators. I'm coming to each of them in detail. The overall appearance is a really sporty watch, maybe not absolutely easy to read with the multitude of indicators and functions, but the overall design, I think, is quite extraordinary, with the ceramic inlays on the side, the black coated back of the watch with the look-through case back, and the black bottom ring has a certain function to which I will come during my wrist shot section. We have a sapphire on the rotor and quite a lot of other features which are either very useful or very nice, or best case even both. Yeah, that's a watch which is not cheap at all. I think it's worth the price, but it's not a bargain. Towards the end of the video, I will surprise you with the price. I will release the price, which is nothing which one, or at least I, can easily afford, but I think it's absolutely worth the money you pay. The watch comes with a diameter of 44.9 millimeter and a lug width of 22 millimeter. The overall thickness of the watch is 17 millimeter with a AR coated sapphire crystal on the front. The watch is empowered by a Sellita SW510 in the top edition, has a sapphire on the rotor, a cabochon pearl on the rotor, and a certain gas filled into the watch to protect it against moisture. The black bottom ring has certain function. I mentioned that already. It's not only that it looks great and perfectly fits into the overall appearance with the black ceramic inlays on the sides. For me, it has a certain function when it's on the wrist, and so I really do appreciate if something looks good and at the same time has a real function. So this kind of design I really do appreciate, and to be honest, I didn't expect it this way on that watch, and to be honest, I haven't seen that before, so I'd really like to share it when I show you the watch on my wrist. Here you can see the black ceramic inlays on the side, and putting the watch on my 17 centimeter wrist, which equals about 6 3/4 of an inch. You'll see the 52 millimeter lug to lug is too big for me. I don't like this big watch, but with the black bottom ring, you see the watch appears much slimmer, or not as high as the 17 millimeter technically indicate. The black bottom ring just makes the watch look thinner than it is. And this is something I really do appreciate, and it's a really nice design, which, as I mentioned, I haven't seen at any other watch so far. The watch has multiple functions, which I have to admit I haven't seen in that particular combination at any other watch. So let's have a look into the different functions of the watch and the different scales and how to read them, what you can do with them. On the left counter you see the running second hand with the green second hand, plus a scale which allows you to easily measure your heartbeat. Just count 30 heartbeats and then you can read your pulse on the blue scale. On the outer scale you see kilometer per hour or miles per hour or any other unit per hour to be measured by stopping 1 unit and then read how many units per hour you would count. The bezel is a ceramic bezel with a compass. It's a German wording, so you see W for west instead of east. Well, you see O for east instead of E for east. It's a shit. The bezel is turning just in one direction. I personally would have preferred the bezel turning into 2 directions. It would be easier to operate, but that's a complaint on a quite a high level. The bezel turns absolutely precise, really nice clicks, really neatly produced. Just the comfort of operating the bezel would be better if you could turn it into 2 directions to adjust the compass as you need. I mentioned the bezel is ceramic like the inlays on the sides, so really, really nicely done. Something you may not have spotted so far, we have an absolutely special dial here. It's a sparkling dial printed in-house at Corazon del Mar with multiple layers of special color, and you see it really sparkling in deep blue, absolutely great. And when you look at the Corazon del Mar homepage, you'll see that the dial adds up to about 1,000 euro just for the dial, and that kind of contributes to the overall price, which is not a bargain. It's a real bold statement, but this combined with the other features is really, really outstanding. And when you go out to the bright sunlight or have a light directly to the watch, that is absolutely great. And I was pleasantly surprised by that. What else can I say about the watch? It is a heavy watch with 165 grams on the steel bracelet, 90 grams without any bracelet. So you probably need certain training to wear the watch, and it's no watch which will disappear over the day. It will tell you any minute, I'm here, I'm here. Do you feel me? I'm here. So it's a man's watch. It's not a dresser by no means, and by no means it will disappear from what you feel on the wrist. And I think that's the main purpose of the watch, to be there and be visible and can be felt. On the sides, on both sides, you have ceramic inlays. On the counter side of the crown you have a big and bright one. On the crown side you have two smaller ones, and in addition to that you have ceramic inlays in the square pushers. Have I ever mentioned that I like square pushers? They look absolutely great and really fit to the black bottom ring. Absolutely nice and great. There is in addition to the only in one direction turning bezel, one other point which I would like to draw the focus to, and that's the crown. The crown operates really smooth and neatly, and the winding it down, screwing it up, screwing it down works perfect in terms of the screw mechanism. However, the crown itself is a little bit too small for my personal perception. Since we have a big, fat, heavy watch, I think a crown which would be slightly bigger would have slightly more grip, or which would stand out a little bit more out of this case, or would have a slightly bigger diameter, would be easier to operate. The crown itself is pretty polished, and if the edges on the crown would be a little bit sharper and the crown would stand out a little bit more out of the case, I think it would be much easier to operate. It works and you can operate the crown, but the crown is pretty close to the case. The case is pretty thick and high, which makes it, for my capabilities, a little bit fiddly to operate the crown. Again, that's a complaint or a hint on a quite high level, but something I personally always look at: how easy can I screw or unscrew the crown? And here I felt that this has a certain room for improvements. The basic version of that watch cost €2,490 on a leather strap, plus €200 for a PVD coating, or €150 for a steel bracelet, which adds up to €2,890 for the basic version. The version you see here with the Tiefblau sparkling dial has another price, to which I'll come in a second. Before that, I show you how the hands are set. I do know some of you are interested in the accuracy of the hand setting, and I think what you see here is a perfect job. Absolutely perfectly set hands. There is not even a fraction of a millimeter disaligned. Absolutely great, and a really, really, really good job has been done to set the hands here. Well, coming to the price. The version you see here, the Tiefblau Smaragd with the sparkling dial, starts at €3,090 on a leather strap, plus optional €200 for the PVD coating, plus optional €150 for the steel bracelet. So the price is quite a bold statement, but the whole package you get is a really big fat package, which I think justifies the price. Would be interested to hear what you think about it. Let's have a look at the steel bracelet and the clasp, because the clasp is signed with the Corazon del Mar logo and the name. It is a big and thick clasp which perfectly fits to the big and fat watch. The folding mechanism is absolutely massive, and you have a ratchet clasp mechanism to adjust the length of the bracelet while the watch is on the wrist. From a core optical perspective, I don't like the gap at the clasp too much, but functionally it is absolutely great, easy to operate, and high functional comfort. The end links are perfectly fit. There is not a fraction of a millimeter play. I've seen watches which are much more expensive or have bigger names who did it worse. So absolutely great, perfect fit, and no play at all. The steel bracelet has polished middle links and satinized side links. The play is minimal, and that's required to have the links easily move against each other and don't rip off your hairs on the arm. The links are screwed links, as you will expect at watches in this price range. Overall, the bracelet is a really nice, good looking bracelet, absolutely fit for purpose and just fitting to the watch. I personally have to say I wouldn't expect more. It's a bracelet which is an absolutely perfect fit. Something I noticed, and that's an interesting one, is the shape and the form of the horns. If you have a look from the top side, you see the 52mm lug to lug. However, the shape of the horns, you have an angle here and it tapers down towards the back side, which makes the watch much smaller when it comes to the part which is on your wrist. So even if the watch is big, fat, heavy and 52mm lug to lug, the part on your arm is much smaller, and that makes the watch pretty comfortable on the wrist, despite the technical figures which demonstrate the watch is bigger than it feels on the wrist. For me personally, the look doesn't accomplish my personal preferences. The feel on the wrist is extremely comfortable. So you have a feel of a smaller watch, the look of a bigger watch. For some of you, this may be pretty interesting. You may think that given the multitude of scales, indicators, the night view may be confusing, but it is not. The night view is pretty plain and simple, and that's another surprise I had when I reviewed the watch. So let's have a look at the night shots. Switching off all my video lights presents a night shot which is pretty clean and easy to read. I'm not quite sure if you need the sun to adjust the compass bezel, so I don't know if there is any function at night, but it looks great. During the day view, you've seen that the hour and minute hands are pretty small, so you can't expect a hell of a lume on the hands, but it's absolutely sufficient to conveniently read the time. Even the second hand has a little bit lume on it, and the hour markers have small lume dots, so the watch is absolutely easy to read at night, and all the scales which may confuse in the daylight conditions are not disturbing in any way when you read the watch at night. Yeah, that's the Corazon del Mar Deep Blue Smaragd in a limited edition. The price, as I said, is a bold statement, a really big fat bold statement, but you get a whole package which I think is worth the money you're asked to pay. You have the ceramic inlays, you have the black coated bottom ring, you have the sapphire on the rotor, you have the cabochon pearl, you have the special gas inside to protect against moisture, you have the sparkling dial which is handmade, you have a multitude of scales, you have a ceramic compass bezel. So a combination of functions I haven't seen in that particular combination at any other watch. So it's just a question of, do you need it? Do you want it? Are you happy to pay for the functions you get? I think the price is worth the package. The question is, do you want to have the package? Just leave your comments. I'm interested to see what you think. Stay safe, enjoy your watches, and look forward to my next videos. Till then, cheers, Axel.